time to turn things up. This pre-workout combination of Expedite and Aerobatine is the Fat Attack Stack from Snack. I usually take both about 15 to 20 minutes prior to my workout. It's the perfect time to get after it.
Cuadras, Bam Rodriguez. Why is this fight still electrifying? Why do people need to tune in to watch this fight?
It's a really intriguing fight. You know, obviously Rungvisai was supposed to be fighting Cuadras. You know, two guys to the back end of their career, but two great warriors. And then Rungvisai flies in here, gets sick, and then all of a sudden we're out of a fight. You know, we're out of a show. And you look down the card, Jesse Bam Rodriguez was in a co-main event over 10 rounds at light fly. And I just said to Robert Garcia's always said to me, any opportunities that come for Bam, he's ready. 108, 112, 115, throw him in. So I asked Robert Garcia, I said, do you want to fight Cuadras for the WBC world title? Yes, yes, yes. Like, we went on to the management, and they were like, oh, I don't know. And Robert Garcia was like, please, let the kid, let him, you know, take the shackles off him, let him go. Because he believes that this kid is really special. Cuadras is full of confidence. You know, he's a bit crazy, isn't he? You know,
yeah,
you know what you're going to get from him. He's an absolute warrior. Punches really hard. And he's 2 divisions bigger than Bam. So I think it's a brilliant crossroads fight. America could have a new star in Jesse Rodriguez, or, you know, Cuadras could make history and become world champion again for Mexico.
When y'all told Jesse Rodriguez about this opportunity, obviously going 2 weight classes, did he still kind of like, oh, this?
No, he was straight in. I mean, it's so refreshing in the smaller weight categories because they don't get the opportunities and they don't always get the paydays. You look at Julio Cesar Martinez stepping up against Chocolatito, same kind of thing. Like, you imagine saying to a welterweight, yeah, step up to middleweight with a week's notice and fight, like, and them going, yes, yes, yes. I mean, no, it's like it doesn't happen. So this is prize fighting, yeah? So you pay, you fight for money, and you fight for opportunity, and you fight for legacy. But so much in boxing, the politics sort of destroy that. But this is just a pure guys going, I can win this fight. Jesse's thinking, I could become WBC world champion. So he's all in.
It's not even 20 fights in yet.
I know,
not even 20 fights in yet. You know?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow. You know, the experience of Carlos Cuadras, Jesse Rodriguez, up and coming.
Really good fight.
It's a really good fight here in Phoenix, Arizona. Eddie, there's a lot of topics I want to get into. The first one everyone's talking about, you know, Jamel, Charlo, Canelo, Bivol, and Triple G. I've been reading around that you've been saying that Charlo, if the opportunity presents itself for Canelo to fight under PBC, Charlo, quote unquote, could be the easiest fighter.
Someone just said to me, which of those do you think is easier? And I said, well, look, Triple G we know is a very, very tough fight. You've seen the first 2 fights. Bivol is really, really good, unbeaten, light heavyweight, technically very good, can punch as well. So therefore, I think they're the tougher 2 fights. And Charlo, you know, people take the quotes and say Charlo's the easiest fight. No, he's just the easiest of those 3. Do you know what I mean? So, but Canelo doesn't really like easy fights. So we'll see. You know, obviously for us it would be huge if we could work with him again, and we'd love to do it. And I'm sure the Charlo fight's interested to him, and him and Eddie will sit down and choose what they feel is the best option.
At 175, Bivol, is that something also that Canelo wants to do? Obviously, you talk to him all the time that he would like to, you know, dominate that whole entire weight class.
I like that. I mean, I think that once you become undisputed at 168, like, yeah, the Golovkin fight, biggest fight in boxing. But beyond that, what is there to do? You know, and I feel like if he moves up to 175 and fights Bivol, you know, you've got Joe Smith and you've got Beterbiev. Don't forget, Canelo Alvarez became undisputed in less than 12 months by beating all 3 champions. It's quite amazing, you know, and he could do the same at 175. You know, you imagine a fight between Canelo Alvarez and Beterbiev. I mean, that is probably the best fight that could be made in boxing. So,
I agree.
And Bivol is a tough fight. You know, he beat Joe Smith comfortably, and maybe Beterbiev and Joe Smith fight, and maybe, you know, he's 1 fight away from being undisputed that way. So it all comes down that Canelo he's got everything. You know, he's got legacy, he's got belts, he's got money. It's just got to be something that excites him.
Well, besides that excites him, you know, we took it on our social medias and asked, you know, are you still interested in that Triple G fight? Nobody really is interested in that Triple G fight. Is that something?
It's a massive fight, huge.
What
fight.
makes that a massive
because
fight?
I think that, you know, sometimes on your site, for example, you're talking about extreme hardcore boxing fans. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but everybody like this is just it's a huge global fight, the Triple G fight. Like, you know, the first 2 are the 2 of the best fights I've ever seen. So it's like, the last roll of the dice for Triple G, a legend of the sport, and the pound for pound #1 in Canelo Alvarez. So huge fight, but you know, the hardcore boxing fans might prefer to see Canelo against, I don't know, Andrade, or like, you know, Benavidez or something like that.
Yeah,
whereas the wider audience, and we have to understand that. I'm a hardcore boxing fan. I would read your stuff. But at the same time, you have to understand the bigger picture and the true value of fights.
You mentioned Andrade. Leaving 160, going to 168. Is that possibly to get closer to Canelo, have that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that, you know, Demetrius is chasing Canelo Alvarez, but we're chasing opportunities, we're chasing big fights. Demetrius is a 2-division world champion. He would love to be a 3-division world champion. We're talking at the moment with the WBC about doing Zach Parker against Andrade, Lemieux against Benavidez, the winners fight the winners, and then the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez. By the time that comes around, maybe that fight's even for a vacant belt, you know? So it's a really good fight, Benavidez against Andrade, and we'll see what happens.